WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
It's 9 p.m, I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight,
to go after the criminal gangs, to smash the gang networks.
To smash the smuggling gangs.
Smash the gangs.
To smash the gangs.
Arrests of migrant smugglers are down under Labour.
Discourse is completely distorted. It's corrupt. It's disgusting, and it is. I'm afraid. I fully acknowledge the existence of people who think that they have legitimate concerns.
It's a cop-out. I don't think that the police will release more ethnicity or nationality information about criminal suspects. Plus,
a source of tax revenue working people pay, their income tax. Haven't increased taxes.
And ending the tax break.
£1 billion of unfunded tax cuts.
And so the tax break for...
Get your hands off our money. The government looks set to change inheritance tax laws and...
Hello, kids. Would you like to be gay? I thought so. Read my books.
Interesting. Well, the BBC announced Strictly's first drag queen contestant.
They're planning to cross the channel illegally, and I said to him, that's illegal, and he said, I don't care. I mean, he was completely up.
Well, right,
okay, let's go. We've got to go.
Two Tory big hitters tried to outdo each other by going to Calais.
Put the money on. Give me that money. Yo.
And police now want you to tackle shoplifters yourself. On my panel tonight, we have got the Director of Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood, the Daily Express's Supremo Christian Kauki, and journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Just before we get your latest headlines, a man has appeared in court today to face criminal charges after officers were called to the Bell Hotel on Epping High Road on Tuesday, the 12th of August. Mohammed Shawak, a Syrian national who resides at the hotel, has been charged with 2 counts of common assault, 4 counts of assault by beating and 1 count of sexual assault on a male, contrary to Section 3 of the Sexual Offences Act. He denies all charges.
Good evening, I'm Cameron Walker in the GB newsroom. The Manchester Arena bomb plotter Hashim Abedi has been charged with 3 counts of attempted murder after 4 prison officers were injured at HMP Frankland in County Durham in April. Abedi has also been charged with 1 count of assault occasioning actual bodily harm and 1 count of unauthorised possession of a knife or offensive weapon. He is due to appear at Westminster Magistrates Court next month and remains in prison. The largest number of migrants ever recorded on one vessel has crossed the English Channel with 107 people packed onto an 18-metre inflatable. The extra-long boat was intercepted and taken to Dover Harbour, where it is being examined by Border Force. Officials warned the bigger boats could carry more migrants per crossing at a time when arrivals have already reached record levels. Meanwhile, the former Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, has said the scrapping of a plan to house asylum seekers in a Hampshire town centre is a victory for the British people. Anti-immigration protests were sparked when it was revealed officials planned to accommodate migrants in the middle of Waterlooville, but have since changed their mind. Miss Braverman, who is the local MP, addressed the crowd earlier today.
We are people who love this country and we're willing to stand up for it. It is not racist to want to control our borders. It is not xenophobic to want to take care and protect our towns. It is not racist to stand up for our country and for our children.
Live facial recognition is being rolled out across England and Wales as part of a major overhaul of neighbourhood policing. 10 camera-equipped vans will be used by 7 police forces to target suspects wanted for the most serious crimes. The Home Office says the algorithm has been independently tested and will be used only in specific circumstances with robust oversight, but privacy campaigners have raised concerns. Now, President Zelensky has warned President Trump that Putin is bluffing about his desire to end the war in Ukraine. Earlier today, President Trump said that if his meeting with Russian President goes well on Friday, he would like to have a second meeting with Putin and President Zelensky together. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, says the planned meeting has created a viable chance of a ceasefire, but Britain stands ready to increase pressure on Russia if necessary. And finally, the Princess of Wales has released a special summer message.
Our lives flourish when we cherish the bonds of love and friendship. So open your hearts. Sing, dance, play.
The Princess says it's never been more important to appreciate the value of one another as she launches her latest Mother Nature video on social media, celebrating the peak of British summer. Catherine previously credited the great outdoors for helping with her own cancer recovery. Well, those are the latest GB News headlines for now. I'm Cameron Walker. More in an hour.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Good evening. I fear we are going to see cover-ups when it comes to the ethnicity of people arrested and charged with serious crimes. New guidance published today by the National Police Chiefs Council and the College of Policing recommends that forces consider disclosing extra details about suspects. The Home Secretary, of course, has said that she really welcomed this move.
Well, we welcome the guidance because
because this is a step forward, and we have been clear that we need greater transparency, and that's what the public want to see. But we have also asked the Law Commission particularly to look at what information can be released to make sure that we're not also affecting criminal trials that are underway. That's where a lot of the restrictions and constraints have been. So we've asked the Law Commission to report very quickly this autumn on what more can be done to avoid prejudice in criminal trials.
Right. Well, I just think this is a complete and utter cop-out, if you'll excuse the pun. Firstly, there is no legal obligation to do this. It's just up to individual police forces. Secondly, it only seems to apply to, quote, high-profile and sensitive investigations. Well, who decides what's high-profile? Isn't that for us to decide, for the public to decide? A case can become more high-profile if the suspect turns out to be foreign-born, an asylum seeker or an illegal immigrant, because, by its very nature, the British public feel a deep sense of dissatisfaction at people who have either just broken into Britain or come here legally and accepted our generous hospitality, going on and committing crimes, especially crimes against women and girls. Now, I can see a situation happening where someone from a migrant hotel commits a horrific crime. The locals all know it was someone from that hotel. The media then find out it was someone from that hotel, and the police decide it's not high profile enough to release the information. People get very angry. We start to see protests. And then they finally decide to reveal that it was a bloke from Eritrea who arrived across the channel a few days ago. And in that scenario, what's different to what we already have? Anything? Nothing will have changed. They'll still be accused of a cover-up. The public will still feel like they've been lied to. Warwickshire Police are still refusing to reveal the nationalities of two men charged in connection with the alleged rape of a 12-year-old girl. Now, obviously, both of those men are, of course, innocent until proven guilty. But so is the man charged in connection with the alleged Liverpool Victory Parade car incident. And Merseyside Police published the ethnicity of that suspect within a couple of hours. He happens to be white, by the way. In fact, just to show the absurdity of this, 5 days after the alleged events in Liverpool, there was a serious collision in Leicester that left 5 pedestrians injured. Now, Leicestershire Police took the opposite stance to the Merseyside force and declined to reveal the ethnic or nationality background details of those detained. Look, we're not stupid. We all know the police seem happy to release ethnicity and nationality data when the suspect is white, and they seem reluctant to do so when they're not white. This guidance doesn't change that. And you've got the usual suspects on the left of British media just calling the whole thing disgusting.
The discourse is completely distorted. It's corrupt. It's disgusting. And it is, I'm afraid, I fully acknowledge the existence of people who think that they have legitimate concerns, but if you're not in possession of some of the facts that I've just shared with you, or, of course, of the fact that the Southport killer was fascinated by Hitler, he was fascinated by ethnic violence in Somalia and Rwanda, he was fascinated by slavery, he was fascinated by the IRA, by Sudan, Ukraine, Korea, and by Al-Qaeda. If you're going to take that information as proof that he was an Islamist terrorist, then you are, well, you're dangerously deluded. You're dangerously deluded. And it is the dangerously deluded to whom the government are possibly pandering with this new policy. And I don't know that we've heard any meaningful challenge to that fear.
Wasn't just the Islamist stuff, though, was it, James? Why did his parents come to Britain? Anyway, it's not just the far right who want it, is it? It's just ordinary, normal members of the public. How difficult is it for politicians and police chiefs to understand? If you've got nothing to hide about the true scale of crime committed by foreign nationals in Britain, then just release the ethnicity and nationality of the suspect every single time. Let's get the thoughts of my panel. We have got the Director of Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood, Senior Political Correspondent at the Daily Express, Christys Cowgie, and broadcaster and journalist, Nina Mishkov. Mark, this big announcement, this fanfare that we've had today from the Home Secretary and the police, I think amounts to the square root of naff all.
Yeah, you're right. It's, I think, pointless if it's discretionary. I think there's an interesting argument to be had about what information should be released when someone's arrested, what should be released when someone is helping the police with their inquiries, and what's released when they're charged, right? And generally when they're charged, everything goes into the public domain because we have an open justice system. But we do have a rule and principle at the moment that if you're arrested and not charged, That's not put in the public domain. The state has decided it hasn't got a case against you. And I find it a bit odd at the moment that we typically report gender and even more weirdly age and don't report well, is it ethnicity and nationality we want, or is it citizenship status? You might be more interested in whether the person was an asylum seeker or a British citizen or a tourist or has permanent leave to remain or has a work visa for a year than you are whether they're, you know, American, Canadian, Eritrean, Somalian or Afghani. But where I'm completely with you, Patrick, is I don't believe there should be discretionary matter for the police. I think there should be a tick box of what we release when someone's arrested, a wider list of boxes when somebody is charged, and new police force should be able to divert from it.
So the police get to decide whether or not a case is high profile enough before they tell you whether or not that person is from, like, Sudan and arrived here illegally.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Steve, it's sort of cart before the horse scenario, as you pointed out. We don't know if it's a high profile case until we've got the facts, because a very bland story, you know, if I said that a dog and a boy were involved in a biting incident, it's a lot more of a story if we find out it was the boy biting the dog, right? That's journalism 101, and that's for us to decide. I think at the root of the problem, and you're right, it shouldn't be discretionary, but the reason why I'm so concerned that it is discretionary is that I'm afraid to say that over the last couple of years, my faith in a lot of police forces in this country has been waning, and it pains me to say that, because so many policemen do really, really good jobs, and they're decent people who want to protect their communities, but I'm deeply concerned by the highly political leadership of a lot of police forces that we've seen. My mind immediately goes to Essex, where some of the soundest people in the country now appear to be ruled by a far-left cabal of, you know, pride parading, anti-free speech, you know, loving police senior constables. So that's one point, and I think you add into that this sort of bizarre, pernicious desire by the police, as we say, to dampen community tensions. That just, you know, that just blurs the whole scenario. You were right to allude, you know, in the case of Southport, if we're talking about releasing immigration status or ethnicity, they were entirely right to say that it was a Welsh national that did it, but that didn't dampen community tensions because it fed into the perception of a cover-up.
I'll come to you in a second, Nina, but because an aspect of that story is that his parents were asylum seekers as well.
Yeah.
That is they're refugees. There is context there in the light of everything that we're talking about as well. You know, okay, I am not. I know some people do. I don't hold them entirely accountable for their son's actions, right? But like, you know, it's a detail, isn't it? That, again, it appears that there is a family here whom at one point we have welcomed into Britain and been quite generous with things.
But do you think that should be released, Patrick? Information about the parents of the person who's been arrested?
No, not necessarily. But I'm just talking more broadly about that, because I think that was something, again, that they're obviously very reluctant to say. You know, the idea there of him being kind of, I think, a Welsh quiet.
Yeah, when they said we've arrested a Welshman, it doesn't conjure up the exact image.
Hang on. I haven't managed to get a word in. I'm sitting here with bloody Taliban tonight.
Oh, come on.
Come on, you three have been nattering on forever.
Go on.
No, I was going to say, first of all, I slightly take issue with the fact that Yvette Cooper says we're going to have more transparency, more openness, and you say, well, it's going to go the opposite direction. Why would you do that? Why, you know, I don't understand that. She says...
there's no requirement for it, so she's just talking.
But she's saying that the Home Office would like this to happen. And besides which, there are other measures that they've announced. One is that foreign nationals who commit crimes who are convicted will be returned without the chance of appeal. Now, that's a huge thing. That's the thing we banged on about here, and that's happened, and that's quietly been... besides which, I'd also like to make the distinction between asylum seekers and refugees. There's a distinct difference in that, and we should not lump them together. And I say I would like to see transparency. I would like to see openness. I like statistics. I like a good list. I like to know what's what all the time. I'm very beady and nosy about that. Having said that, how much of this information do people want, and why do they want it? Supposing you say, OK, how many red-headed people live in my street? 5. So what? So what's the
difference? Well, it's not quite the same. Because unless there was a genuine sense that a load of red-headed people were committing rapes and murders, then there's no real...
There's no...
But once you know the ethnicity of somebody who has been questioned or has been charged with a crime, and you have that information. What do you do with that?
Well, then you can change policy, can't you?
Yeah, exactly.
It can inform whether or not certain things like our immigration policies are actively dangerous to people living in Britain.
Exactly right. So, no, I think it does. I mean, I hope it doesn't inform...
You're weaponising knowledge.
No, well, knowledge should be weaponised. I want knowledge to be weaponised. That's the purpose of knowledge.
Or it's the opposite point. I mean, we splashed the Express last week about how we discovered that neither the CPS nor the Home Office hold any data on the ethnicity of all the rapes in each police area, or and so actually you should welcome. We all welcome transparency, and if it turns out, if it were to turn out that once we had all the information that you could clearly debunk allegations that, for example, Afghans are 22 times more likely to commit a rape.
Well, the other thing...
then we should all welcome that.
The other thing that might be exposed, from a woke liberal perspective, is let's imagine vast... Well, I didn't say you were, but from a woke liberal perspective, what might be useful about this data is, supposing we find out we were arresting vast numbers of Afghanistanis, but none of them were charged or convicted. Yeah. Well, that would expose racism in policing, right? If none of them are charged or convicted. So this data is, I think, useful for all sides of the argument for exactly those sort of reasons.
I'm not arguing. I am for more transparency.
So let's mandate it.
What I'm saying
mandate it then.
Why when, as I say, when she just announced it, we're saying, well, it's work.
Because she won't mandate it.
Because I think there is a sense, I'll put this to you, Christys, and this ties in a little bit to what we're going to be talking about at the 10 p.m. There was a devastating front page today of The Independent, a left-wing newspaper, that basically smashed Sir Keir Starmer, smashed the gangs rhetoric. We're going to get into the details of that later, but I mean, the headline there is that we've smashed fewer people smugglers than even the Tories did. That was quite astonishing. But there is a sense, I think, with this government that they'll say they want to do one thing and then actually they'll do another. And by listening closely with a kind of journalist's hat on there to what Yvette Cooper was saying, she wasn't actually saying very much of substance. It was the appearance of doing something without really doing it.
Won't the proof be in the pudding?
Well, it will be, but my concern, and I think you alluded to this in your monologue, actually, I think this change will more often than not be used by police forces when there is concern about a crime that has happened. People think it may have been a refugee or an ethnic minority, and it was a white person. And I think it will more often than not be used to quell anger than it will to expose wrongdoing.
Quell anger.
All right, OK, all right. Well, a CPS spokeswoman has said the CPS does not maintain a central record of asylum or immigration status. However, this information may be included in a prosecution if it forms part of our case. So there we go. Also, I will just say one thing. There was obviously some quite strongly worded allegations about Essex police there, and they are not here to defend themselves. So there we are. Right, loads more coming your way, including that story that Sir Keir Starmer is not smashing the gangs. But before that, here is your chance to live mortgage or rent-free for a year. No, it's not an asylum hotel. And get a bonus £5,000 in your bank in the latest Great British giveaway. And guess what? If you haven't got a mortgage or rent to pay, you can still enter and get 15 grand. Here's how.
We want to send some of those monthly financial stresses packing this August with your chance to be mortgage or rent-free for 12 whole months. We'll give you a cash lump sum that equals 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to an amazing £20,000. We'll also throw in an extra £5,000 on top of that for good measure, because... why not? And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you. We'll give you £15,000 tax-free cash instead. What are you waiting for? Lines will close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, good luck, everybody. It's coming up. The BBC has announced Strictly Come Dancing's first drag queen contestant. We'll talk about that. But up next...
big source of tax revenue working people pay, their income tax. Haven't increased taxes.
And ending the tax break. £1 billion of unfunded tax cuts. And so the tax break for...
I'll just say it. Get your hands off our money. The Treasury is looking at ways to raise more money from inheritance tax amid growing pressures on the country's finances ahead of the autumn budget. See you in a sec.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record, you say that week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we are proud to stand for you, for the Britain you love, for the communities you live in. That's what makes us the fearless champions of Britain. Its voices and its values. Because we, at GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Wake up with a familiar face. She's back on breakfast television. Penny Smith returns.
Miss me? Well, I'm here and I brought the coffee.
And we're reuniting to brighten your morning.
It's just like old times, only better.
So join Penny and me next Monday and Tuesday only on GB News Breakfast. Wake up with a familiar face. She's back on breakfast television. Penny Smith returns.
Miss me? Well, I'm here and I brought the coffee.
And we're reuniting to brighten your morning.
It's just like old times, only better.
So join Penny and me next Monday and Tuesday only on GB News Breakfast.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight, only on GB News. We're going to get stuck into this new alleged inheritance tax raid. It's time for the head-to-head. It's incredibly controversial, this, actually. Rachel Reeves is preparing for yet another raid on your hard-earned money to plug a whopping £50 billion black... 50 billion? I thought it was 40 billion pounds last week. Anyway, 50 billion quid black hole in the nation's finances. Remarkable, really, considering that when she took over, she was telling us it was a 22 billion pound black hole, and they've been in charge for just over a year, but whatever. The Chancellor has already vowed to slap a 40% inheritance tax on private pensions and slash allowances for farmers and businesses, punishing people, really, who many people think keep this country running. Well, now the Treasury is plotting a lifetime cap on the gifts that you can pass on before you die. So let's just think about this practically, all right? You know, I don't know, you don't even have to be a millionaire, you don't have to be wadding, you just, you know, worked hard all your life and made a little bit of money, done the right thing, put a bit of money away, squirreled it away, maybe got a property, something like that, and you're looking to just that money to your children before you die, so you don't have to shed a load of it when it comes to inheritance tax after you die. Some people would basically say that that's essentially a human right and a natural human instinct. But Rachel Reeves seems to want to squeeze from families even more. Back in 2017, Reeves wrote in The Guardian that inheritance tax cuts were just a tax break for a wealthy elite. Well, now she's getting ready for a fresh raid on family estates. So is this about fixing finances, or is it just the politics of envy? I'm joined now by commentator James Melville and also a member of Patriotic Millionaires, Stephen Kinsella. Thank you very much. So, James, is this essentially class war, the politics of envy? Is it unfair?
Yeah, of course it is. I think it's an unethical, immoral tax. It's effectively punishing the dead and punishing the bereaved. Now, it's very simplistic to say that this is just sort of highfalutin rich individuals who need to worry about this sort of thing. But look at the case of the farmers. You know, farmers are having to put themselves into this zero-sum game of you're trying to foot the bill over a 10-year period, which they can ill afford because of their earnings. They're therefore the only thing left to sell land. That also applies to family businesses that own hotels or factories. And now the government are talking about removing the loopholes around that. Now, this is not exactly a particularly good growth strategy, considering recent reports would indicate that over 6,000 farming-related businesses have closed over the last year. What we should be doing is incentivizing our family businesses and all businesses to grow, scale up, attract more ways to invest, and also boost their local economies. Okay. And this comes right back to the heart of the matter. Inheritance tax does the exact opposite. And it's a classic example of Labour being spiteful and vindictive to family businesses.
OK, I'll come back to you. Stephen Kinsella of Patriotic Millionaires, I'll bring you in. So, same question to you. I mean, you know, obviously people are saying that this is essentially class war, envious, unfair.
Sure, and James, it's good to see you again. It's been a while. But the farming thing, look, we all know the farming is a bit of a niche topic, if we're honest. I personally wouldn't have done what was done in relation to the farmers, although even that's been overstated because, as we know, you can probably hand on a farm worth up to 3 million without suffering any tax. But if we look at the inheritance tax, which I think is what we're talking about today, which is, and none of us know what's proposed to be. Look, you know, I'm a Labour member, I'm a Labour supporter, but I've no idea what's being planned there. But we're hearing the discussions that they're going to tinker with inheritance tax. And I don't know, Patrick, you know, you at GB News will know a lot, obviously, about the profile of your viewers, but I don't know if your viewers are aware how few people pay inheritance tax. I mean, it's less than 4% of people will ever pay inheritance tax. You know, most of us, our wealth is really in our homes, and the average home in the UK is worth about £270,000. That was in May of this year. Inheritance tax doesn't start until $325,000. If you're a married couple, you get double that. If your main asset is your house, you'll get another $300,000 of tax exemptions. So the reality is you're not going to pay inheritance tax if you're a couple where your main asset is your house until your estate is worth more than $1 million. So we're talking about a very small percentage. I understand why people get excited about it. I can understand there's quite a lobby out there that wants to get people, you know, concerned about this and say, look, here's the government again making a raid on you. But the people who will be affected by this are a very small percentage of the population, a very small percentage, I'd expect, of your viewers.
But why does that matter, Stephen? I'll just sit with you on this, because I think it really is a question of fairness, isn't it? If you've gone out and worked for something, especially with the way the property market's going, people will be sucked into that bracket. You said it's 4%. I think the reality is it's 4% every year, so it's not like just 4% of people who are alive now. And I do wonder as well, like, you know, yourself, obviously member of Patriotic Millionaires, you know, you might do. I'm intrigued to know this. You know, do you voluntarily pay more tax every single year yourself?
Well, that's a really good, and that, of course, is the question we get asked, isn't it, all the time?
Yeah.
I mean, the main thing Patriotic
what's the
Millionaires
answer?
actually campaigned for, and I came on Jacob's show a few weeks ago to explain this, is we actually campaigned for a wealth tax, which we think would be fairer.
But why don't you preempt that by doing it now while you're alive? Just do it. Just do it. You can, can't you?
You can do it, but
do you?
Well, I think you got the answer in your question, and also your intro I thought was very fair as well. But it's about fairness, isn't it? So most people would say, look, I will very happily pay that as long as everyone else is in the same boat as me is also paying it.
Come on! So you won't pay it until everyone else is made to pay it. You know that's a massive cop-out, mate. Come on.
No, I don't think so at all. I think that's absolutely fair. I mean, first of all, look, I am obviously paying a lot of tax. I pay a lot of tax, but I'm saying I would be very happy if you want to. I mean, our proposal, by the way, it's 2%. The proposal is 2% tax on people who have wealth of more than £10 million. So if you had £11 million, you'd pay 2% on the 11th million. You'd pay £20,000 tax. During the course of the year, if you invest your 11 million, you can probably make 500,000 out of that.
All right. Okay. But hey, look. You know what? Call me a dreamer, Stephen. But you could lead the charge, mate. You could lead the charge. Go out there on your own and do it. But all right, we'll bring James back in. So to that
what
argument,
I'll do, Patrick, I'll leave it to you.
Leave it to me. Unfortunately, I'm going to be a few more years before I'm at your level, mate. Anyway, let's go on to James. Let's go to James. Yeah. That argument, because that argument is a fair point from Stephen, which is okay. It's a relatively small percentage of people every single year who will be paying this. Maybe the country needs it. Public service on their knees. Why don't we just do it?
But it's more than that. It's the knock-on effects. I mean, again, you go back not just to farming, but family businesses, legacy, where you want that business to go on to the next generation, if the next generation want to do that. But it's also supply chains that go off that. And that comes back to farming and, say, hotels or whatever. So when they're going to give up assets, sell buildings or sell land or whatever, or basically lower down on their costs, that has a knock-on effect to other businesses as well. So therefore, in the case of farming, then the farmer might not be renewing, say, a tractor license, or, might be not paying sort of the same round of bills for their vet and so on. So the wider supply chains and rural economy gets affected as well. It's not just the individuals who have to pay that tax. It's also the jeopardy of other businesses around it. That isn't fair. And so what we should be doing is finding ways, first of all, with our tax money, the government spends it in the right way. That's another debate in itself. But I would suggest that we should not be punishing hard work, legacy, and also the bereaved who may want to take on that family business.
All right, guys, I am sorry about this. I was a bit late getting to you, so I'm apologies. We're going to have to knock it on the head here. It's my fault, but thank you very much. We'll have this chat again with probably the both of you at the same time, closer to the time when we know a bit more detail. So thank you very much. It's commentator James Mel with that, a member of Patriotic Millionaire, Stephen Kinsella. Take care. Right, OK, well, what do you make of that? Anyway, coming up at 10 p.m.
And he was completely up.
Well, right,
okay, we've got to go.
Arrests of migrant smugglers are down, and we're also going to be doing that clip there of Chris Phillips. So it's basically two Tory big hitters are trying to outdo each other now by going to Calais. Stay tuned.
Be nice to escape the grey.
Clear skies, here we come.
As clear as our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Across some southern parts of Europe tomorrow, there will be some showery rain, which could turn heavy and perhaps even thundery. But a big talking point is still the exceptional heat affecting parts of Portugal, Spain and France. Yesterday, temperatures were in the low to mid-40s in some places. The heat skis a little, but it's going to return again as we go towards the weekend. Further east, some heavy showering, like I mentioned, could be a bit thundery at times, particularly across parts of Italy. Elsewhere, it's looking fine and sunny for many through the outlook.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening. This is your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Now, as we go through the next 24 hours, there will be a few thundery showers across northern parts in particular, but it is also staying hot for many of us. That's because we're sandwiched in between low pressure to the west and high pressure to the east. So we have a southerly flow across us, dragging in that very warm or hot air. Now, as we go overnight, there will still be a few showers across parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland in particular, and some of them could be a bit heavy and and thundery, but most places will have a dry night. Also a lot of clear skies around, but because of that warm, humid air across us, temperatures not dropping a huge amount. So another warm, sticky night for many of us. Then as we go through tomorrow, a dry start to the day for most of us, but even quite early on, a few showers are quite possible, particularly around western parts of Scotland, maybe towards the north as well, and they could be heavy, they could be thundery. Also some showers first thing possible for Northern Ireland, some parts of northern England and down the western coast of England and Wales. And some of them could be a little bit on the heavy side, but most places will be avoiding them and having a fine start to the day. Now as we go through the morning and into the afternoon, many places staying dry with some decent sunshine, but across parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland in particular, there's the risk of the showers turning a bit more intense, a bit more frequent, and there could be some heavy bursts mixed in with them. Also some frequent lightning and some hail and thunder, so do watch out, there could be some disruption as a result. Temperatures for many won't be quite as high as today, but nonetheless in the sunshine still feeling pretty hot. Now as we go into Friday, it's looking a little bit dry, in as much as there will still be a few showers around across some parts of Scotland, but not as many as through the next 24 hours or so. And worth bearing in mind, a bit more cloud towards the northeast may make things feel a little bit fresher, but generally through Friday, through the weekend, lots of sunshine on offer, and in that sunshine still feeling hot.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. So since Labour took power last summer, more than 50,000 illegal migrants have crossed the English Channel in small boats, and there's no sign of it slowing down. And now the Conservatives are flocking to northern France. This morning, the Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp hit the beaches of Calais, posting from the shoreline.
No sign of any French police presence on this beach. Obviously, you can see from the place I'm standing, you can have a good view over the entire beach. You could spot any embarkations, but I don't see any French police here at all, keeping an eye on this particular beach.
But then his visit turned a bit ugly.
They're planning to cross the channel illegally, and I said to him, that's illegal, and he said, I don't care. I mean, he was completely up.
Well, right,
okay, let's go. We've got to go.
Well, there we go. It's nice to see I wasn't the only person who got bottled in one of those migrant camps, but he says that he was pelted with bottles and even had a knife pulled on him while speaking to those illegal migrants in northern France. But he's not alone, of course. The Shadow Justice Secretary has also been across the channel. Now, teasing a upcoming video on X, Robert Jemrick has claimed that he has proof that the French are, quote, aiding and abetting the small boat trade. But back here in the UK, former Home Secretary Suella Braverman was in her constituency celebrating plans to house asylum seekers in Waterlooville being dropped.
Now this victory, and it is a victory, is not my victory. It's not Gwen and the Conservatives. This is your victory. This is a victory for Waterlooville. This is a victory for the British people. So thank you for the courage. Thank you for your moral clarity. And thank you for your determination.
Well, good on Suella Braverman, and potentially showing a lot of other MPs up. It does appear that you can get those migrant hotels stopped if your MP cares enough about it. But anyway, 3 Tory MPs all essentially really trying to look tough on immigration. Let's talk now to security and border expert Henry Bolton. Henry, thank you very much. So, first things first then, the two Tory shadow ministers who've gone over to northern France, do you think there's like an attempt to try to outdo each other a bit here? Do you think it's valuable intel that they're providing? How do you view that?
I think it's a really good thing what you've done, what Robert Jenrick has done, and what Chris Philp has done in raising this, in continuing to make the public and the government aware that, you know, people know what's going on. I do think it's a dangerous business, though. Putting my former police officer's hat on, you know, the message has been passed. It needs to be kept alive, but I wouldn't like to see a sort of queue of members of parliament all lining up to go over to Calais, because one of the things is that the more the migrants over there realise what's going on, that this is actually an effort to raise awareness and thereby prevent their movement, then it's going to get more and more dangerous. So,
isn't it born out of a sense of helplessness, though, Henry? I mean, that's the main reason why I went over there, to try to expose the human traffickers, and I dare say similar with the two Conservative shadow ministers there, really, which is that we feel as though we're being fundamentally let down by both this government and the French security services as well, and that maybe their presence over there might do more to deter these illegal migrants.
Yeah, I don't think it deters them, but I think it does. You know, by implication, you know, it raises the profile of the whole thing. It pushes the government into acting. One hopes, but the government isn't acting. The government it seems to have done absolutely nothing to dissuade these people or deter them from making that journey across the United Kingdom. And I keep saying it, and I will continue to say it, that until the government gets serious about stopping or ceasing sort of to make the UK an attractive destination, these boats will continue to travel and the gangs will continue to facilitate that illegal movement.
Again, one of the revealing things there, again, is that if you walk through those camps and you get bottled and have machetes pulled on you, etc., these are the people that are coming to Britain, Henry. I mean, you know, when are people going to wake up and realise that actually a lot of these people are not nice?
No, I know. You know, I've been banging that drum since 2014 or so. The people who are making this journey or attempting to are absolutely in no way the best that their society has to offer. They are not from the same culture as we are. They have a totally different view towards violence, gangs, the treatment of women. There's a whole raft of cultural issues. We don't have to judge them, but we have to be aware that they are fundamentally different, and they are not used to our legal system. They're not used to our social behavioural norms. They're not used to any of that. And the people who are trying to encourage them to come, and all these cities and boroughs and so on of sanctuary, which are encouraging their movement and making the UK more attractive, are actually incredibly naive. And I think, I'll put it bluntly, putting the public at risk, at a safety risk. This isn't you know, some game we're playing here. There are people over there. We know there have been shootings. We know there have been knifing. Now, it has to be said that, of course, you know, every community, every society has those problems. But when you have lived and worked abroad dealing with these sort of people, as I have for many, many years, you realise that actually there is a huge difference between them and us. Don't have to judge it. The fact of the matter is it poses a public security risk.
All right, Henry, thank you very, very much. Henry Bolton there, security and border expert, reacting to those two Tories going over to northern France. Also, as well, it must be said, well done to Suella Braverman, again, putting people to shame, potentially the MPs, who say there's nothing that they can do to try to get those hotels removed from their area. Coming up... Right, BBC's Strictly Come Dancing has revealed its brand new batch of celebrity dancers, and it's once again causing headlines. This year's big talking point, apparently, well, there's a drag queen stepping onto the dance floor. We're going to talk about that in a sec. Oh, and there's still time for you to get your tickets to join me live in this studio on a Friday night. Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christys Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christys Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christys here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power?
Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber.
Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics.
We'll see where this ruling takes us.
These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record, just like week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
All right, welcome back. I'm looking forward to this. So, look, is virtue signalling back on the Strictly dance floors? So the BBC has announced this latest move. So they're signing its first ever drag queen for the main series of Strictly. They said it's history-making. Some people aren't convinced. Voix, real name Chris Dennis, fresh from RuPaul's Drag Race UK, will take to the ballroom next month. Now, of course, supporters insist it's a bold step for representation, a very talented individual, all of this stuff. Same-sex pairings have appeared before. We've had Nicola Adams, we've had Katya Jones, John Waite and Johan Radibi, Richie Anderson and Giovanni Panisse, Jade Adams and Karen Howard. There you go, I'm learning a lot tonight, actually. And also Nathan Williams and Nikita Kuzmin. So there we go. So it's not a kind of new thing in that sense. But we were wondering whether they're doing it to kind of chase headlines and all of this stuff. So I'm very pleased now to be joined by commentator and TV personality Simon Gross. Simon, thank you very much.
Do you know what? It's a joy to be here. Yeah. I'm watching you every night from home, and here you are, a showbiz legend.
Oh, well, I don't know. You're the showbiz legend. I must have love your energy. But,
thank you.
So, OK, so first things first, the criticism of this would be that it's basically a shameless attempt to try to generate a few headlines. What do you think?
I do think so. It's like they're putting a drag queen in. It's like, wow, what are we going to do next? Let's surprise the public and and make them on the edge of their seats. What are we going to do next? They're putting a drag queen in. It's not been done before on Strictly, and it's refreshing. It's great. I mean, it's Saturday night television. I mean, we remember Saturday night television from the olden days. I'm showing my age. People like Danny LaRue, real talented drag queens, and we're kind of bringing that drag from the olden days, Patrick, to the new generation. Remember, Chris Dennis Voix did Drag Race. He came second. He didn't win it, but he's won it because he's doing Strictly. So we're kind of like the BBC are like bringing in a drag queen on a primetime show. Old school drag queen, I have to say, and I've worked with him. He is old school.
What does that mean?
Old school, as in like Danny LaRue. Like, I mean, do you know Danny LaRue? Like the great Paul O'Grady.
Yeah.
Was what I would say talented, a proper drag queen or owns his craft. Yeah, Chris is a singer, he's a dancer, he's trained, and his costumes, the makeup, the wigs. Whereas you get the new generation of drag, like Drag Race, where they do a lot of lip syncing and stuff. Chris doesn't do any of that. And he's a little bit older, he's in his 30s.
So it's not something that I think a lot of people have had criticisms. There's been criticisms of things in the past, like drag queen story time that's been going around primary schools and nurseries and all of that stuff. So this is not something you think is kind of going to be overtly sexual. It's like it's just a, I don't know, it's a character, it's a performance.
I think I think the thing is, it's a drag queen. It's not, I don't think, oh my God, wow. I don't. But I think that what's on everyone's now saying is, will Chris or Voix be Voix, or will he be Chris? Is he going to go on it as a man, or is he going to go on?
It's got to be a woman, surely. I mean, can you imagine the BBC being like, "We've got the first drag queen on," and then he turns up like looking like me, you know?
Well, yeah, but I mean, you know, you would think so. Yeah. But I mean, you know, Chris is 5'7" and he wears great big heels, so he's going to tower against most of those boys.
But that is interesting because they could flip it completely, so they could put him in drag with a female partner.
Yeah, they could.
I mean, they could do also, because we don't know.
But I wouldn't. I don't think that's, you know, I mean, look, at the end of the day, he's a drag queen. It's entertainment, it's variety, it's Saturday night television like we had in the 70s and the 80s. I'm showing my age now. But that's what it is, and that's what's great about this. It's like they've gone for a real sort of old-school, honed drag artist. And Chris works on P&O cruises, he works on ships, he's doing Panto in High Wycombe this Christmas. He's earned his apprenticeship, and I think he deserves it.
See, that's a really interesting point, because I know a lot of people will read the headline on this, and I'll be honest with you, initially I kind of, because I deal with a lot of the BBC, just in other aspects, I think, oh, what are you doing now? It's needless kind of tokenism, virtue signaling. But you think, you know, this is someone here who actually has got genuine talent and could have gone and win it.
I hope so, but when you look at some of the other people in the lineup, you know, reality stars. I did a reality show, but remember, I trained as an actor. Yeah. So they knew that when I did Big Brother. I was in Big Brother, but I still work in theatre. I have a career and I do showbiz and stuff. Chris is the same. Chris still works as an artist. In fact, I read his Instagram tonight. He said, "Don't worry, I'm still going to be doing the boats. I'm still going to be touring." Yeah. But the thing is that I think what they're trying to do is shock all the time, the BBC, and I don't think putting a drag queen is too much of a shock.
OK. Well, I suppose in the context of some of the other stuff we see... Look, thank you very much. We really could talk all night, actually, but there we go. I've just got to read out this from the BBC now. We contacted the BBC. OK. And we are awaiting a response. But I imagine that they would argue that they want to represent people from all walks of life in the UK on the show, including drag queens. And what I will say as well, it's not going to be the first drag act that's been up the Blackpool Tower, is it? So there you go. But anyway, coming up, police and crime commissioners are apparently telling you to tackle shoplifters. Would you tackle a shoplifter?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, right.
Across me, I'll tell you.
Well, that's what they meant. Anyway, stay tuned.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening. This is your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Now, as we go through the next 24 hours, there will be a few thundery showers across northern parts in particular, but it is also staying hot for many of us. That's because we're sandwiched in between low pressure to the west and high pressure to the east. So we have a southerly flow across us, dragging in that very warm or hot air. Now, as we go overnight, there will still be a few showers across parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland in particular, and some of them could be a bit heavy and and thundery, but most places will have a dry night. Also a lot of clear skies around, but because of that warm, humid air across us, temperatures not dropping a huge amount. So another warm, sticky night for many of us. Then as we go through tomorrow, a dry start to the day for most of us, but even quite early on, a few showers are quite possible, particularly around western parts of Scotland, maybe towards the north as well, and they could be heavy, they could be thundery. Also some showers first thing possible for Northern Ireland, some parts of northern England and down the western coast of England and Wales. And some of them could be a little bit on the heavy side, but most places will be avoiding them and having a fine start to the day. Now as we go through the morning and into the afternoon, many places staying dry with some decent sunshine, but across parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland in particular, there's the risk of the showers turning a bit more intense, a bit more frequent, and there could be some heavy bursts mixed in with them. Also some frequent lightning and some hail and thunder, so do watch out, there could be some disruption as a result. Temperatures for many won't be quite as high as today, but nonetheless in the sunshine still feeling pretty hot. Now as we go into Friday, it's looking a little bit dry, and as much as there will still be a few showers around across some parts of Scotland, but not as many as through the next 24 hours or so. And worth bearing in mind, a bit more cloud towards the northeast may make things feel a little bit fresher, but generally through Friday, through the weekend, lots of sunshine on offer, and in that sunshine still feeling hot.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Vox Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
There's just 3 weeks to see how you can win your mortgage or rent paid for a whole year. That's a cash lump sum equivalent to 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to a whopping £20,000. Plus, we'll add an extra £5,000 on top for good measure. Make sure you don't miss out as lines close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
It's 10 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight,
to go after the criminal gangs, to smash the gang networks.
To smash the smuggling gangs.
Smash the gangs.
To smash the gangs.
What a load of rubbish. Arrests of migrant smugglers are down under Labour.
Discourse is completely distorted. It's corrupt. It's disgusting. And it is, I'm afraid, I fully acknowledge the existence of people who think that they have legitimate concerns.
Cop out. I don't think that the police will actually release more ethnicity or nationality information about criminal suspects. Plus,
they're planning to cross the channel illegally, and I said to him, that's illegal, and he said, I don't care. I mean, he was completely up.
Well, right,
okay,
let's go.
we've got to go.
Well, there you go. Two Tory big hitters try to outdo each other a little bit by going to Calais, but I do think it's good they're raising the issue.
Put the money on. Give me that money. Yo.
And police now want you to tackle shoplifters yourself. And this is interesting. So, stop killing children, stop killing civilians. That is a banner that's just been placed on the ground at the UEFA Super Cup. Well, it's the final. I mean, it's the Super Cup game, isn't it? In Udine, in Italy. And the context there, for our viewers and listeners, is that that's quite a big leap for UEFA to do that. And one of the teams involved is Tottenham Hotspur, Spurs, owned by a Jewish businessman, big Jewish fan base. I do wonder if Spurs knew that that banner was there and whether or not there's anything going on behind the scenes at UEFA. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. On my panel tonight, we have got the Director of Popular Conservatism, Mark Littlewood. We've also got Senior Political Correspondent at the Daily Express, Christys Cowgie, and journalist and broadcaster, Nina Mishkov. So get ready, Britain. Here we go. Oh, yes, and I just wanted to bring this to you as well. A man has appeared in court today to face criminal charges after officers were called to the Bell Hotel on Epping High Road on Tuesday, the 12th of August. Mohammed Shawak, a Syrian national who resides at the hotel, has been charged with 2 counts of common assault, 4 counts of assault by beating, and 1 count of sexual assault on a male, contrary to Section 3 of the Sexual Offences Act. He denies all of the charges. Stay tuned. Yes, good evening, everybody. So this front page alone could consign Sir Keir Starmer's entire premiership to the bin. Abject failure as smuggling arrests fall under Labour. People smuggling arrests are down under Sir Keir Starmer's government. National Crime Agency data shows just 192 people were arrested for organised immigration crime in the year to April. That's down 16% from the 229 under the Tory government the previous year. So, with that in mind, does anyone believe this?
To go after the criminal gangs, to smash the gang networks.
To smash the smuggling gangs.
Smash the gangs.
To smash the gangs.
He promised it during the election. He's promised it more or less every single week since the election. In November last year, he announced an extra 75 million quid of your money to help police our borders, saying he would use counter-terrorism tactics to stop people smuggling gangs before they act. The government's own website said Prime Minister unveils game-changing investment to tackle national security threat from people smuggling gangs. He held an organised immigration summit in London in March to gather world leaders. And there he said this.
Migration is a massive driver of global insecurity. It undermines our ability to control who comes here. And that makes people angry.
He went on to say, it makes me angry, frankly, because it is unfair on ordinary working people who pay the price, from the cost of hotels to our public services struggling under the strain. He said it's unfair on the illegal migrants themselves, because these are vulnerable people being ruthlessly exploited by vile gangs. And by the way, can I just say, I think therein lies the problem, doesn't it? The psychology of our man in charge. He went on to say, so look, we must each take decisive action in our own countries to deal with this. Nobody can doubt that the people we serve want this issue sorted. But the truth is, we can only smash these gangs once and for all if we work together, because this evil trade, it exploits the cracks between our institutions, pits nations against each other, profits from our inability at the political level to come together. And that's why, from the moment I took office, we said the UK would convene this summit. OK, and here we are today. They've smashed fewer gangs than the party that went before them. In July this year, he put out a Facebook post saying, I'm working day and night to secure our borders, smash the gangs and make Britain a fairer, more secure country. And here we are. Arrests for people smugglers are down 16%. What are they playing at? We alone here at GB News have handed them several human traffickers on a silver platter. We know loads of them operate right here from Britain, right here. But there's a bigger point here. Since 2018, more than 170,000 illegals have crossed the English Channel. Do you know how many arrests we've had for human trafficking in the last 4 years? Just 912. Yeah. 912 people have been arrested for smuggling offences in the last 4 years. That's it. That includes the 192 in the year we've just had until April. Now, bearing in mind that clearly when they make arrests on a gang, that by definition will include several people, won't it? Let's just imagine that there's 10 people in every gang they've smashed. That would mean in the last 4 years, roughly 19 gangs have been arrested. That's it. It's pathetic, isn't it? What can the excuse for that possibly be? Britain is being invaded, and it feels like our PM feels that he can just get away with saying this and hoping that we don't notice.
Smash the gangs.
Ridiculous. And for all the additional tens of millions of pounds in funding, they appear to be doing precious little. Let's get thoughts on my panel. We have got Director of Popular Conservatives Mark Littlewood. We've got the senior political correspondent at the Daily Express, Christian Calgi, and broadcaster Nina Mishkov as well. So, Mark, firstly, pretty embarrassing stuff for Keir Starmer. Smash the gangs, and fewer are being smashed.
It's pathetic. The number's down from what was a pretty pathetic number anyway. You're right. And bear in mind, I mean, I think you were being a bit too kind on him, if anything, Patrick. These are merely arrests. Not charges, not prison sentences. It could be, I'm speculating, that we've arrested the same bloke 10 times. That will count as 10 times. If we haven't actually charged him and put him in prison. Absolutely feeble. I mean, for something which is now, let's face it, a national emergency, to be nicking somebody every other day, one person every other day, that's the sum total of what we're doing, basically. Every 48 hours, one person nicked. What on earth are Border Force doing? Looks to me it's like the interest in Calais is Tory frontbenchers and GB News presenters. Where the hell are Border Force? I mean, this is utterly pitiful.
How damaging is this for Sir Keir Starmer? Because, you know, you look at that, I mean, that is the headline that I think is the stuff of nightmares for him, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a surprising headline because I wrote a very similar story a couple of weeks ago based on seemingly identical data that had been unearthed by Robert Jenrick. And what was very interesting when I put that to the Home Office and said, you know, why have these numbers fallen? What I got back was a Labour source quote, not a Home Office quote, which means that the Labour rebuttal contained facts that the civil service wouldn't sign off on because I don't think all of it was true. And I think Labour's defence is absolutely paper thin. It's like a sense, you know, nonsense, you know, attacking Robert Jenrick ad hominem, all sorts. By the way, the numbers that you've got, they are the worst for any year ever, excluding 2020 when there was a global pandemic.
Seriously,
honestly, and I actually feel
Boris Johnson was in charge.
Yeah, but that was also actually before the small boat crisis really kicked off, which was in 2021. I almost feel sorry for Keir Starmer.
70,000 under Boris Johnson?
Yeah, there were, but not in 2020. We can criticise Boris Johnson on exactly the same page. I won't take that away from us. But the point I was going to make, I almost feel sorry for Keir Starmer because this is a guy who genuinely believed that with the right and pure intentions and hard work, you could go into Downing Street and you could pull some levers and the British state would react. And unfortunately, I think his view, certainly the people around him, his closest advisors, has already crumbled. And they're already saying Dominic Cummings was right. The British state is useless. The civil servants don't do what we want them to do. They've got an agenda of their own. And I'm afraid that until they realise that, they tear the thing down.
Well, this is not a reason to feel sorry for him.
They pull out the ECHR. This is not going to get better.
Don't feel sorry for him. That's a grotesque political misjudgment.
We'll bring Nina in on this. This is really catastrophic, isn't it? The whole thing, smash the gangs, and here we are, the numbers are down. How can it be down, Nina, when we've got every other day an announcement on smashing the gangs? He's had an international conference here. He's pumped tens of millions, if not hundreds of million pounds more in. He's talking about working with his European partners, getting close ties with the French Germans to try to smash the gangs, and the numbers are down. How can that even be possible?
I agree the numbers are down, but on the other hand, what he inherited was a system that was and a trade that was already well established, and hopefully, because we have to hope that he's going to make it come right, because we've got another 4 years of this, and somebody's got to get it right. That, you know, there's no good hoping that somebody else will come in. This is our government, and they're going to be there for another 4 years. You know, unless there's some kind of catastrophe. So you have to say what he is doing, hopefully, will in the long run improve. The systems that he's putting in place, the sort of the relationships he's brokering with European countries will come through. You talk about why aren't border force there? Well, we haven't got French police on our streets in this country.
Well, people aren't fleeing from Dover to Calais.
No, never mind. Hang on a minute. What would the British people think if French police were allowed to come and investigate here? Well, they're not inclined because we're a sovereign nation, and therefore we can't just, you know...
we're paying them a lot of money. We're paying them a lot of money to police this.
Would you agree to French police coming in and...
If there was a massive problem of people fleeing Dover, yes.
No, you...
Yes, absolutely. They're our allies, no problem at all. We work with Interpol all the time.
Sorry, but since Brexit, everything changed.
Well, we work with Interpol, the CIA, endless foreign agencies, not a problem.
This is the thing, is because it's not actually, or hear me out on this, this isn't all Keir Starmer's fault. He's set himself up to fail by this relentless smash the gangs thing, Yvette Cooper, and actually this is shocking. And by the way, I think if we get the next round of figures in the next year, there are going to be massive calls for them to resign on this issue alone, because they made it such a key issue. What the flipping heck are the National Crime Agency doing?
Well, quite. I mean, the problem is here, as you rather elegantly have shown a few times in this programme, they've got a soundbite. Smash the gangs. You might even say that's a policy, that they think that you think you can somehow police your way out of it without changing the sort of laws that Christian was talking about. I suppose you've got a soundbite and something approaching a policy. What's the actual plan? What are Border Force doing differently to a year ago?
Is the National Crime Agency there? This is the thing. So they are a big part of the people that are...
So what are they doing differently?
And this is what I don't understand. And I don't want to be unfair to the National Crime Agency, because I imagine what they will say is that they don't just deal with this, they deal with things like paedophile rings, they deal with, you know, drug cartels, all of that. And I get that. If they're anything like our police force at the moment, then they are overstretched, no doubt, and they've got their work cut out. But you do have to seriously wonder if this is the biggest issue facing Britain at the moment, which for a lot of people it is, and it is a spearhead of government policy.
Quite.
How can... And they've had millions, tens of millions...
What's the cost per arrest, right? 75 million quid extra for Border Force, as it was. What is it actually costing us per gang member arrested? An absolute fortune. Hundreds of thousands and hundreds of thousands.
Surely this will improve exponentially.
Why?
And the thing is, to be fair, and as I say, I too think that this is all disgraceful. To be fair, they've said that what they call disruptions, i.e. preventing boats going into the water and preventing it, has gone up by a third this year.
Right.
So they've managed that much.
I don't think that adds up, really, because
more people are coming in.
On the one hand, we've got record high numbers coming into Britain, and at the same time, the number of illegal migrants entering Europe as a whole, I believe, is down 20,000 this year. So it's not that there's an even larger wave that's coming to Europe, and then we're getting the follow-on percentage of that. And the other problem is that for all the announcements, we've got this new head of border security that Yvette Cooper's appointed. We've got this new deal with Macron. We've got this new treaty with Merz of Germany. We're constantly having all these talks with Maloney and Turkey. The Tories, without all of that, managed to do more in terms of charging people smugglers. That's the low watermark. That's the base.
And we've fallen below it.
Failed to build on it.
You know what this is? This is a national embarrassment for a variety of different security services in Britain. If you are able to outfox the entire might of the British intelligence state by changing your phone regularly, using a burner phone, changing your number, doing all that stuff, maybe just drifting around locations whilst continually bringing a tidal wave of illegal immigrants into this country, then what message does that send out to us about the rest of the world?
Yeah, quite. I mean, my impression...
I agree it's dreadful.
It's appalling.
Say, you have to hope that what is being set in place now will... somehow...
But what's that hope based on, Nina? I mean, I'd like to hope that, but there doesn't seem to be any evidence for it. Well, I can't think of anything we're doing differently to tackle this problem.
You can't set up systems...
But what's the change? What's the big change they're making?
Some of those systems
what's the big
monitoring
change?
People on social media, getting their details and then going and arresting
I agree, and that should all be being done. But we were talking about the relationships with say, France, with Germany, with Syria even. You know, Rishi Sunak did a very good deal with Albania, so that really worked. That's cut that back a lot. So Lamy has gone to Syria, and we may get the same reciprocal...
I think we've got to focus a lot more on enforcement and a lot more on the actual legal system in this country. If we don't change those, don't expect anything to change.
Enforcement of drug policy. You can't stop people taking drugs if you only try and smash the gangs. You've got to have the deterrent for the users as well, because the demand is so huge that you can smash a gang and it will immediately be replaced by another one.
One of the things you need to stop people wanting to come here is because they can disappear into...
We don't need to disappear. We give them free stuff as a matter of policy.
So did the French.
We give them free stuff. That's our policy. It's not identifying them.
What Sir Keir Starmer quite skillfully did by saying he was going to smash the gangs was he opened up an avenue for him to be able to say that he's going to do things here that will be invisible to a lot of us. We will not be able to see all the work that's going on behind the scenes. But that has been shattered today by the figures being released that those gangs are not being smelled.
That's right. The numbers are the numbers of the numbers, right? And look, I do have some sympathy when Nina says look, the Labour Party did not have a golden inheritance, but we are a year on now.
A year is not a long
It is. You should be able to... Well, he should be... Well, hang on, Nina. He should be able to at least explain what big things he's going to change. And there are none. None.
I get the hotel issue is a Tory hangover, but on this issue, they should have at least in their first year been able to match the number the Tories were doing, if not improve on it, and they've gone backwards.
It's not good enough, but you have to believe.
Oh, yeah, gotta believe.
Wow.
You gotta believe. Talking of just believing. It's your chance to win the latest Great British giveaway as well. But we've got something brilliant to share with you. Jane from Manchester, she believed. And she became our biggest cash winner today. And actually, you regret laughing at this now. It's an incredibly emotional phone call, this, Chris. A very emotional phone call. Yeah, here's Jane. Well done, Jane. Here you go.
Jane, are you sitting down?
No, I don't. I'm not believing this.
Jane, you've won £54,321.
Please don't joke. I just would change my life.
Jane, you have won £54,321 with GB News. Congratulations.
Oh, my God. Oh, my, do you know what? I've just been shopping and I've got £50 to last me till the 31st of August. And I was trying to work things out.
Go and sit down, have a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath. That money is coming to you, all right?
Oh, my God, thank you so much.
Well, there you go. Wonderful. It was, wasn't it, actually?
She wanted to go double or quits.
Yeah. Jane, go and put it all on red. No, don't.
That was wonderful.
Don't, all right, do not do that, right. And yeah, here's your chance. Here's your last chance to live mortgage or rent-free for a year and a bonus £5,000 in the bank. And if you've not got a mortgage or rent, you can still win 15 grand. Here's how.
We want to send some of those monthly financial stresses packing this August with your chance to be mortgage or rent-free for 12 whole months. We'll give you a cash lump sum that equals 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to an amazing £20,000. We'll also throw in an extra £5,000 on top of that for good measure, because why not? And if you don't have a mortgage or rent to pay, lucky you. We'll give you £15,000 tax-free free cash instead. What are you waiting for? Lines will close on the 29th of August. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB15 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 29th of August. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck, everybody, and I now do have to reiterate that we do not encourage gambling here on Patrick Christys tonight, so spend the money wisely. Coming up, tomorrow's newspapers are about to land, and this is interesting, a police and crime commissioner is now telling you to tackle shoplifters. Yeah, I mean, would you, seriously? I mean, half of them have probably got machetes, and the other half probably got syringes in their hands. Stay tuned.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain's newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
Now, the governing body of tennis, which is the Lawn Tennis Association, has been accused of effectively breaking the law.
Yes, that's after reports that they encouraged transgender people to participate in women's tournaments. Well, we're now joined by the former Olympic swimmer Sharon Davies to discuss this. Sharon, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now, just bring us up to date, because the LTA, I think in January, made what could have been seen as quite a positive decision to stop trans players, trans women, so biological men, from competing against women in the elite game. But tell us what's different about the amateur game.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really important that we do use the correct language, because they're not banning anyone. They're just stopping biological males from competing against biological females. It's really that simple. And what's very frustrating is that basically they're saying, if you're really good, we're going to give you fair and safe sport. If you're not quite so good, we're not going to give you fair and safe sport. I mean, what a ludicrous situation that we're actually in. And as you say, I mean, it's been 100 days now since the Supreme Court ruling. It made it absolutely clear that a women's event means that it's a women's event only if it has biological females in it. If it has any form of man in it, no matter how they got to call themselves, what they want to wear, then it's a mixed sex event. So, you know, they are encouraging local clubs, you know, to not actually follow the law, to not give fair sport to pathways, to recreational, to juniors. You know, these people now are just expected to have unfair sport. And how do we get the elites if we don't make sure that the way forward and the way through is fair? And this is not just tennis. You know, golf is bad too. We still have 30 sports in the UK that don't protect the female category, including things like taekwondo, would you believe, and gymnastics.
GB News, the People's Channel.
I'm Tom Harwood. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Wake up with a familiar face. She's back on breakfast television. Penny Smith returns.
Miss me? Well, I'm here and I brought the coffee.
And we're reuniting to brighten your morning.
It's just like old times, only better.
So join Penny and me next Monday and Tuesday only on GB News Breakfast.
Welcome back. Right, so now we've got a police and crime commissioner telling you to take on shoplifters yourself. Matthew Barber says if you just see someone nicking stuff, hey, don't just film it, stop them.
You've got someone in your store now stealing from you, call 999. Also, ideally, try and stop them leaving. You know, don't just stand there and watch, which a lot of people do, which frustrates me. You know, they push through the barrier at tube station, the staff are doing nothing. I agree, they're not, that's terrible, but you're the idiot standing there with a mobile phone. You're not doing anything either, are you?
Just out of interest, I wonder how many criminals Matthew Barber has physically apprehended himself. Maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe he's an absolute dynamo. Maybe he's like Chuck Norris. The gloves are off with Matthew Barber every time he's out and about. But it didn't really look like that, did it? But hang on there. A former Scotland Yard detective says this is complete and utter idiocy, warning that it will turn Britain into the Wild West. Well, it's a bit late for that, mate. Shoplifting's at record highs, 500,000 cases last year. Yet some shop owners were told off for daring to call thieves scumbags. I mean, here's the truth. Our police are too busy policing language with our streets, aren't they? Our streets are just running amok with criminals. So I'm joined now by former police detective, chief inspector and founder and CEO at My Local Bobby Limited, David McKelvey. David, thank you very, very much. So should I be wrestling men to the ground in Tesco's?
No.
Right.
No, because
I'd hurt them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's a lovely idea, but the reality is in this day and age, unless you're trained, you've got some experience, you understand risk, there's absolutely no way you should be taking people on. A lot of these people are armed now, and you've got to remember as well, most of these big retailers have non-intervention policies themselves. They don't allow their own security guards to get involved or staff. So why should a member of the public step in to arrest a shoplifter in a shop that won't actually protect its own store?
So what do you make of what that Police and Crime Commissioner said then?
It's a lovely idea. It's something that we all, you, me, everybody would love to do. But the reality of it is that if you do step in, as you've seen, you've got the risk of getting injured. You've got the risk of getting arrested. You've got the risk of being prosecuted, all sorts of things. You saw what happened on the train the other day. The BTP are now looking for those individuals who detained that man who exposed himself. So the risks are and the point is, when you detain someone, when you arrest someone, you are relying on the police to turn up. And unfortunately, in this day and age, police resources are so stretched, they're so busy, that the chances of them turning up on time, you could be fighting with someone for 30, 40 minutes, even an hour.
Is it even criminal in Britain anymore to steal something as long as it's valued under 200 quid?
Well, the law is changing, so obviously they're going to bring back the revoke the original 2014 law, so it will be an offence again. Well, it is an offence. It's just that it's a summary-only offence at the moment, and so it's treated. Anything under £200 is treated as effectively not an offence.
Why are we paying for anything, David?
Well,
I think I go to Tesco's, and forgive me, because regular viewers and listeners on this show might have heard me say this before. My local Tesco's has a shoplifting quota. So when I finish the show and I come off air at midnight, sometimes I think, all right, I haven't got anything for dinner. I'll go to the local Tesco's, and quite often it's closed. And I'll have a security guard there. I'll say, why are you shut? And they go, because we've hit our quota of shoplifters for the day, so we'll shut now. And I'd say, this is absolute nuts, isn't it? And as you rightly alluded to there, the problem could be, the nightmare scenario, David, could be that you or I see a shoplifter, we think, all right, we're gonna have this guy. We sit on him, we get stabbed with a needle or a knife, and then we sit on him, the police don't turn up, and then when they do turn up, he's only nicked something worth 199 quid, and actually it's just a summary offence anyway.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The law will change. But the reality of this is you can't put yourself at risk. As a police officer, I ended up getting stabbed 4 times throughout my career, threatened with guns, knives, all sorts of things. Detaining people is not a spectator sport. It's a violent act, and if you've got someone who's violent and fighting back, you have to use overwhelming force to detain them. And most people have not been trained to do that.
I do just wonder, we're seeing it now in Bournemouth, for example, where they say that they've seen an increase in antisocial behaviour, which of course has got absolutely nothing to do with the fact that there's 3 huge migrant hotels on the seafront. It's just the way society's gone. And they've set up local people patrolling. And these are just ordinary people. It's like, I suppose, like a slightly more on-the-nose neighbourhood watch, really. And I'm wondering, I think there's a lot of people out there, whether it is retired police officers, whether it's veterans, maybe, or whether it's just like people who care about the local community, who would actually be willing to step in and fill a bit of a void here and go out and do things like just patrolling the streets to maybe report crime or identify it or help stop low-level crime, move drug users on, or in this case, anyway, tackle shoplifters. Should we not be thinking a bit out of the box here? If the police are overstretched, could you not get people like yourself or whoever, some of your mates, to go down the local Tesco's every night?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what we do as a business.
Yeah.
We detain somewhere between 20 and 40 shoplifters or pickpockets every single day. But the difference is that our people are trained, they have handcuff training, they carry handcuffs, they know all of the shoplifters because they patrol those areas, and so they get to know them, so they're at less risk. But that's what we do as a day job. That's what we do as a business. But even then, you know, only in the last week, one of our bobbies has been attacked literally 4 times with zombie knives. And on each occasion, we've called 999 and the police haven't turned up. So if that's the response we're getting, you know, as a member of the public, you're going to be in a similar situation or potentially in a similar situation. So do not take the risk.
It's absolutely wild, this, isn't it? It's absolutely wild. You know, I think, and you know, we have got great people like yourself and the people who work with you and all of that stuff, and there's a ready army. I think, I am convinced, and I see this when I talk about a load of topics, you know, certain issues that we might see at Migrant Hotel, for example, or certain issues just generally out on the streets, where I think, you know, gosh, there is a standing army of British people out there who are willing to actually step in and help their local communities. Of course, it comes at a great risk. You were stabbed 4 times in the line of duty. You were saying that one of your mates has had a knife pulled on him 4 times. What do you think? Just a wider point here, David. Sorry to go a bit off topic, but what do you think this says about just the general state of Britain, really, at the moment?
It's bonkers. It's a mess at the moment. I mean, the reality is that the police are stretched beyond belief, and you've got to feel sorry for those, you know, at the ground who are actually trying to police the streets, because they are overwhelmed with work. You know, literally overwhelmed with work, and so it's not their fault. And of course, you've now got a summer of discontent. You've got police being pulled from pillar to post, going to, you know, migrant hotels, dealing with issues and problems. And then they're being asked to go out and respond to calls. So the police service is too small. The recruitment's gone, retention's gone, too many are looking to leave, and they've lost a vast amount of experience. And so we are in a policing crisis.
Yeah, well, look, thank you. And by the way, thanks for everything that you and My Local Bobby Limited do, because it sounds like you're trying to fill that void as best you can and taking serious risks doing it as well. So, former Police Detective, Chief Inspector and the founder and CEO of My Local Bobby Limited, David McKelvey, you take care. Or literally, actually, please do. All right, all the best. So we have, this is what the Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, had to say about this so-called, you know, neighbourhood policing.
We're increasing the number of neighbourhood police officers across the country by 3,000 this year as part of a plan for 13,000 additional neighbourhood police and PCSOs across the country, because we've got to bring back neighbourhood policing.
OK, all right, yes, and now I'm at pains to stress to you that obviously you shouldn't get involved if there's a violent crime taking place. Right, next, tomorrow's front pages will be delivered shortly. On the Express, oh, this ties in. Now, again, just another way that we should change our behaviour. So we've had the issue of if you see a shoplifter, right, maybe you should step in. Well, now another way around this is for shops to not put high-value goods at the front of the store. How much, like, Tetris are we going to have to play, changing ourselves? Don't go out wearing a Rolex, right? Don't go out doing any of these things. Don't take a wallet with you. How much life-changing stuff are we going to have to do before we actually go after the criminals? Stay tuned.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Across some southern parts of Europe tomorrow, there will be some showery rain, which could turn heavy and perhaps even thundery. But a big talking point is still the exceptional heat affecting parts of Portugal, Spain and France. Yesterday, temperatures were in the low to mid-40s in some places. The heat's going to ease a little, but it's going to return again as we go towards the weekend. Further east, some heavy showery rain, like I mentioned, could be a bit thundery at times, particularly across parts of Italy. Elsewhere, it's looking fine and sunny for many through the outlook.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Good evening. This is your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Now, as we go through the next 24 hours, there will be a few thundery showers across northern parts in particular, but it is also staying hot for many of us. That's because we're sandwiched in between low pressure to the west and high pressure to the east. So we have a southerly flow across us, dragging in that very warm or hot air. Now, as we go overnight, there will still be a few showers across parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland in particular, and some of them could be a bit heavy and thundery, but most places will have a dry night. Also, a lot of clear skies around, but because of that warm, humid air across us, temperatures not dropping a huge amount. So another warm, sticky night for many of us. Then, as we go through tomorrow, a dry start to the day for most of us, but even quite early on, a few showers are quite possible, particularly around western parts of Scotland, maybe towards the north as well, and they could be heavy, they could be thundery. Also, some showers first thing possible for Northern Ireland, some parts of northern England, and down the western coast of England and Wales. And some of them could be a little bit on the heavy side, but most places will be avoiding them and having a fine start to the day. Now, as we go through the morning and into the afternoon, many places staying dry with some decent sunshine, but across parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland in particular, there's the risk of the showers turning a bit more intense, a bit more frequent, and there could be some heavy bursts mixed in with them. Also some frequent lightning and some hail and thunder, so do watch out. There could be some disruption as a result. Temperatures for many won't be quite as high as today, but nonetheless in the sunshine still feeling pretty hot. Now, as we go into Friday, it's looking a little bit dry, in as much as there will still be a few showers around across some parts of Scotland, but not as many as through the next 24 hours or so. And worth bearing in mind, a bit more cloud towards the northeast may make things feel a little bit fresher, but generally through Friday, through the weekend, lots of sunshine on offer, and in that sunshine still feeling hot.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
You've read the headlines, you've heard what those in power have to say. How about now we actually get to the truth?
They would pay attention.
We go beyond the political theatre and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. For a massive council tax hike, one of the biggest in the UK. Others follow their lines, but we go off script.
You sound like a broken record, just like week after week.
Cutting through the narratives and giving you unique perspectives. That's Ben Leo tonight, Saturdays and Sundays from 9 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight. Let's have a first gander at tomorrow's newspaper front pages, starting with the Metro. There will be no surrender. Zelensky piles the pressure on Trump before talks with Putin as Starmer praises the US president. The Independent, Zelensky, Putin is bluffing. He does not want peace. That's the Ukrainian leader's warning to the President of the United States. There's a theme on the front pages, by the way. The Eye, protect Ukraine from bluffing Putin, Zelensky urges Trump. The Daily Express, don't put high-value goods at the front of stores. Advice not to put expensive items near shop doors to deter thieves was last night branded, quotes, a disgrace. I'll just draw your attention to something as well. Sorry, it's still on the front page of that Daily Express. It's their picture story. The Independent actually had the same picture story. Ellie Goldstein, who is a model, is apparently going to make history as the first Strictly Come Dancing contestant with Down syndrome. So they're going to have someone, contestant with Down syndrome for the first time on Strictly. The Daily Mail, BBC climbs down over, quote, xenophobic slur on top Tory. Essentially, Robert Jenrick was called a xenophobe by someone on Radio 4's, was it Thought for the Day?
On the Today programme,
On the Today programme. There you go. The Sun, gun plot linked to £64 million Arsenal deal. Cops probe, quote, shooting over transfer. I don't know, United could do the bit of that, because I don't think Rasmus Hojlund took any shots last season. But, there we go. All right, where to start? Why don't we do with this, the BBC? So the BBC, Christian, you seem like you're across this.
Yeah. So it was on Thought for the Day about 7:45 this morning, which used to be this slightly interesting philosophical daily point where they'd have a religious leader on to talk about what religion can teach us about various issues. But they instead went down the route of getting some nobody,
Chris Candia, regular on this show.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking that when I said it. Yes, and he accused Robert Jenrick. This was in response to his recent Mail on Sunday article where he said that, the flood of illegal migrants, mainly young men of fighting age, are putting women and girls at risk, and saying he just wouldn't want his
facts.
Yeah, exactly. He wouldn't want his daughters, and he was accused of fueling xenophobia against foreigners. Obviously, Robert Jenrick hit back, and the BBC issued actually a surprisingly sort of fulsome apology and have edited out
very rapidly,
out the claims of xenophobia. But I want to know, does no one check what these guests are saying before they go on?
Yeah, they do. They do.
And if so, why was it allowed through?
Well, I was reading this earlier. Apparently, the protocol, I don't know whether it was followed, is that the guest who's supposed to compose the thought writes the first draft, and the head of religious broadcasting, whose name escapes me at the moment, probably not a regular on your show, Patrick, then signs it off and lets it be broadcast. So that has clearly been a pretty grave error.
Three guesses at the politics of the BBC.
Well, that's the thing. The BBC always gets it wrong this way round, don't they? It's never the other way round. It's always this way round.
Thought for the day, on the thought for the day, is that it's August. It's the first 2 weeks of August, and maybe the head of religious affairs is off, maybe the deputy is off. So you've got some underling junior who hasn't read it properly. Do you know what I mean?
That's fine.
Right. That's a great defence.
Sorry, mate. Had a hangover this morning. Didn't read it.
Sorry, I was actually still steaming from last night, and I did not read that. So
bit too much communion wine.
No, it's not an excuse. I'm just saying, lack of professionalism, and it drives you bonkers, basically.
Yes, OK, and let's just touch on, because this is on the front of several different national newspapers, is the Zelensky warning that Putin is bluffing when it comes to these supposed peace deals. How do you feel this is going to go? And what's Britain's involvement? It's on the front of the Independent.
I'm not sure. I'm not really sure how important Britain's involvement is. Quite a lot of this now hangs on how Donald Trump plays it, right? So he said there will be serious consequences for Putin if we don't get to peace. There does seem to be some carrot as well as some stick. Some suggestion that Putin could exploit the minerals in the area. A slightly wacky suggestion that we should look at the Israel-West Bank model as the model for resolving things here. I think what's meant by that, which I think is on the front of the Independent, is that there might be a deal in which Russia do not evacuate the land, but it's not legally recognised as Russian.
Like Hong Kong.
But I mean, what I hope is we can get to some form of peace here. Unfortunately, not every square inch of Ukrainian territory is going to be recovered. Yeah. There's no way Crimea is going back to Ukraine. So there's going to have to be a compromise. But I think Trump needs to make clear what the consequences are of crossing the red line. I mean, a good approach to foreign relations, difficult, complex, hostile foreign relations, is you make it plain what the red line is, and you make it plain what the consequences are of crossing it. And if the red line is crossed, the consequences are delivered. I think Trump's got to do that. It's a bit flowery, his wording at the moment.
Yeah, Nina, your views on this?
I was going to say, you could take a very cynical view and say that Trump and Putin have already agreed this a long time ago, and they're just carrying out the plan. And they're carving up. You mentioned the rare earth minerals. Ukraine is fantastically wealthy in minerals.
Yeah,
it's also the breadbasket of Europe.
I mean, it also would not currently exist without the American support that it's had. Yeah. So I mean, there is probably some trade-off.
I'm just concerned that Trump is a complete flip-flop on this issue, and actually, I thought over recent weeks he'd been coming round to the truth of Putin a bit more, which is he says all the right things on the phone, but then he doesn't follow through. I'm concerned about the timing, because obviously Trump and Putin are now set to meet in fairly short order, and Donald Trump is saying if that goes well, then I'd really like a very quick follow-up meeting with Putin, Zelensky and me. And obviously that then wouldn't necessarily give the requisite time for Putin to show his true face, that he's not going to abide by what he's agreed. And I think if it's a rushed peace, it'll be a bad peace.
Be clear on the red line, then.
All right, well, there we go. I just want to bring you this, because this is something that happened, I think, started whilst we were on air, actually. So UEFA, the footballing body, has tweeted that the message is loud and clear. And you're looking at it if you're watching us on TV or online there. This is at the Super Cup, which Spurs are playing, and I think there is some important context there, because Spurs, of course, run by Daniel Levy, who's a prominent Jewish figure, and is renowned, isn't it, Spurs, for having a large Jewish fan base. It says, a banner there, stop killing children, stop killing civilians.
This is unbelievable. There's a basic rule in football that you keep politics out of it. Well, if you remember previously, the poppy was considered to be too political.
I think that
the
was
poppy
was Black Lives Matter.
And players themselves get into a lot of trouble if they rip off their shirt having scored a goal with any kind of political messaging. This is unambiguous political messaging. Whatever side of the argument you're on, this is political messaging.
You could make a case that maybe that's also a message to Hamas.
Yes, exactly.
Kill children.
Possibly.
No, but it's not, is it? And I think that's. No. I think really, you know, I wasn't going to watch. Looks like I wasn't going to care at all about the football, but I think especially given the context, as far as I'm aware, and I think you two are the football experts of Tottenham's. You know, it does have large Jewish support in London. I think that is disgraceful, and I'm afraid to say this is exactly why I was uneasy with the taking the knee over Black Lives Matter.
Political.
Was it as a thin end of a wedge into much wider and much more
it's also
political messaging in football.
Context, which is they are playing Paris Saint-Germain. Paris Saint-Germain have a huge Arabic fan base, are owned, I think, by the Qataris.
That's right, yes.
Who play host to the leadership of Hamas.
Yes.
So I reckon the banner was signed off by the BBC's head of religious broadcasting.
Oh, come on. No, the deputy.
Yes.
No, I mean, you know, you should keep politics out.
Yeah, totally.
Well, it's like the Olympics. You know, they should be unsullied. It really ought to be.
Exactly.
And I know nothing and care less about football.
Okay.
But this is a big thing to do. And but having said that, you can understand people are absolutely horrified, terrified at what's going to happen next.
Not the place for it, though.
Yeah, OK, all right. Well, look, when I come back, we are going to be giving you some more of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. I'll see you in a sec.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Our reporter, Anna Riley, is in Ilkley. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Oh,
Hey, by gum, what accents you've got there this morning. Happy Yorkshire Day and welcome to Ilkley. It certainly is God's own country, is Yorkshire. Absolutely splendid place, and of course we're so proud of our culture. We've got our own language, we've got our own sayings, and it's just a beautiful part of the world. Celebrated every year on the 1st of August. It's arranged by the Yorkshire Society, and it's all about celebrating our heritage, and it's going to be great for businesses as well as the town here today. We're going to have a procession of mayors coming through later this morning, the largest gathering of civic mayors in the world, and we're going to hear the town crier, and also on Ilkley Moor bar taps, which means on Ilkley Moor without your hats. The unofficial anthem of Yorkshire is going to be sung. We're joined this morning now by Joe Smith. He's the retail manager of Lishman's of Ilkley, and of course a butcher with a pork pie. Good morning. Good morning. Tell us about Yorkshire Day and what it means to you.
So Yorkshire Day for us is very good for the business and all the local authorities. It brings all people down to the shop celebrating Yorkshire Day. I think today will especially be great.
What is it about Yorkshire folk and about the countryside that we've got here as well, the moors, and what do you think draws people here?
Well, it's just the natural beauty, and it's away from everything. You know, we're not in the city, we're in a really nice kind of area.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Wake up with a familiar face. She's back on breakfast television. Penny Smith returns.
Miss me? Well, I'm here, and I brought the coffee.
And we're reuniting to brighten your morning.
It's just like old times, only better.
So join Penny and me next Monday and Tuesday only on GB News Breakfast.
Welcome back. So let's do the latest roundup of the newspapers. The Guardian, tomorrow goes Trump warns Putin faces severe consequences if no truce is agreed. Apparently the UK may scrap equality pledge on foreign aid. Quite intrigued to find out what that. Ministers are considering scrapping a commitment to spend 80% of foreign aid on projects that include work to support gender equality. The Guardian has learned.
Set up under the Tories.
It was set up under Boris Johnson. It just occurred to me. Yes.
Under Carey, you mean?
That's an interesting one.
All right, the Mirror, big story. Prison assault fallout. Arena bomber's brother on 3 murder bid charges. The plotter is accused of attempting to kill jail guards in a cooking oil attack. That is, of course, Hashem Abidi. The Daily Telegraph, Trump to offer Putin minerals for peace.
There you go.
Right, US President will propose money-making opportunities to bring an end to the war. Angela Rayner pushed for workers' right to down tools during a heat wave.
This is unbelievable.
Just use ginger, though, to be fair. Heat wave.
This is
Deadly.
just...
You know,
Deadly.
it could be lethal.
15 degrees.
It's true.
But hang on a second, I'm just reading some of this, Patrick, that the Unite and the GMP are pressing the government for a legal upper limit of 27 degrees for manual jobs. That would be when you do... I mean, how are you supposed to sell ice creams on a beach or something like that? That's a manual job, isn't it?
There could be one upside to this, though, which is that Parliament frequently goes past 30 degrees in the summer.
Shut it down.
So we would go for longer without bad laws.
That would be a good idea.
Here's what I have to go home.
The thing is, how do they function in India, in Australia, in America?
Well, they've got this thing called air conditioning. It's a marvellous technology.
You know, we are so weedy about the heat. It's quite pathetic.
Thank you, Nina. That's so true. It's so true. Well, anyway, there you go. I think we're going to talk about this in the next hour. We've got a lot to go out in the next hour, actually, for late editions. Angela Rayner's thinking it's OK to down tools if it gets above 27 degrees. It's utterly remarkable. The Times, though, final newspaper of the day. Trump in warning to Putin on eve of talks. Oh, good. We've also got a rescue plan if universities collapse.
No, this is maddening. I mean, they're falling like dominoes, right? I think it's Dundee University being bailed out for 22 million or something.
But why? How are they? Why are they broke?
Well, because there's too many of them, right? Basically, there are too many of them, and your lower grade universities will not survive in the market. We've got to let them go.
He's not a bad uni, is it?
We've got to let those go. They have to be able to go to the wall like businesses, like any other business. They should not be bailed out.
But also now, I am convinced, and I'm not specifically naming Dundee University here before anyone jumps on me, I am convinced that a lot of our universities are just joining immigration.
They are visa factories. There is no need for a certain university near where I grew up, naming no names, to have a Canary Wharf campus. Right? That is for migrants, right? And if they can't survive without migrants, they can go, right? And also, as I was writing a report on the dreadful graduates market, AI is about to screw the entire economy up for young people. You know, half the people who are getting degrees don't need them. So let them
become a plumber. Become a plumber.
Make university
how come universities have got so dependent on foreign students? And you know,
because we won't allow them.
We won't allow them to charge fees to go up.
To go up in line with inflation.
But then also we're paying the Chancellor or whoever far too much.
Oh, the Chancellors, the Vice Chancellors of these universities on half a bar a year for doing absolutely nothing.
Let them go to the wall. Go to the wall.
Let them go. Go and get a practical trade. We need to be encouraging people to go out and get a practical trade. Don't go study underwater basket weaving somewhere for 3 years and up in £90,000 worth of
And this is a message from 4 political commentators on television.
Get a proper job. Get a proper job. Anyway, all right. OK, right, we've got loads to talk about in the next hour. Thank you to my panel. Look, it's an exciting set of front pages, and we'll do the...
Today's outlook: cool, calm,
and completely horizontal. Boxed aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good evening. This is your latest GB News weather forecast from the Met Office. Now, as we go through the next 24 hours, there will be a few thundery showers across northern parts in particular, but it is also staying hot for many of us. That's because we're sandwiched in between low pressure to the west and high pressure to the east. So we have a southerly flow across us, dragging in that very warm or hot air. Now, as we go overnight, there will still be a few showers across parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland in particular, and some of them could be a bit heavy and thundery, but most places will have a dry night. Also a lot of clear skies around, but because of that warm, humid air across us, temperatures not dropping a huge amount. So another warm, sticky night for many of us. Then as we go through tomorrow, a dry start to the day for most of us, but even quite early on, a few showers are quite possible, particularly around western parts of Scotland, maybe towards the north as well, and they could be heavy, they could be thundery. Also some showers first thing possible for Northern Ireland, some parts of northern England and down the western coast of England and Wales. And some of them could be a little bit on the heavy side, but most places will be avoiding them and having a fine start to the day. Now, as we go through the morning and into the afternoon, many places staying dry with some decent sunshine, but across parts of Scotland, Northern Ireland in particular, there's the risk of the showers turning a bit more intense, a bit more frequent, and there could be some heavy bursts mixed in with them. Also some frequent lightning and some hail and thunder, so do watch out. There could be some disruption as a result. Temperatures for many won't be quite as high as today, but nonetheless in the sunshine still feeling pretty hot. Now, as we go into Friday, it's looking a little bit dry, in as much as there will still be a few showers around across some parts of Scotland, but not as many as through the next 24 hours or so. And worth bearing in mind, a bit more cloud towards the northeast may make things feel a little bit fresher, but generally through Friday, through the weekend, lots of sunshine on offer, and in that sunshine still feeling hot.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Got a fantastic array of front pages for you. Yes, the Trump, Putin, Zelensky summit is dominating some of them. However, Angela Rayner pushed for workers' rights to down tools in the heat wave. She thinks if it gets over 27 degrees, you should be able to have the day off. Absolutely ridiculous. Also, shops are now being told, because of shoplifting, don't put expensive things near the front of the shop. That's decline, isn't it? There you go. We've also got, apparently, we're going to scrap an equality pledge that meant that 80% of foreign aid had to go to schemes of gender equality. Stay tuned.
We want to send some of those monthly financial stresses packing this August with your chance to be mortgage or rent-free for 12 whole months. We'll give you a cash lump sum that equals 12 of your monthly mortgage or rent payments, right up to an amazing £20,000. We'll also throw in an extra £5,000 on top of that for good measure. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network